This is the strongest fucking marker known to mankind, Gabe.
I got ripped.
Yo, this is so when I was out tagging, this was those markers. This is, and I didn't ask you this too. What's your wildest Mobb Deep story? I didn't ask you this on the joint, but I know you got a bunch of them.
I mean, just on a regular night, every time Shook Ones came on, it would just be fights. So it's like one time we were in Cleveland, and P used to tell this story all the time also. One time we're in Cleveland and, we're at a steakhouse. And I see them after we eat dinner, they take the steak knives. I'm like, what the fuck y'all doing? Why y'all taking steak knives? They're like, cuz we ain't got nothing on us. Like, we got nothing. We're flying, to each location. And you said like, I need something, but these are like big ass serrated steak knives.
Yeah,
they're not even like you
wouldn't handle,
saw somebody like to hurt them. They're blunt tipped, like it's crazy. And so that night we're on Biggie's. It's us, it's Biggie, and I forget who else. And so they give us their mics. I'm with the sound dude. They have their mics. I have the DAT ready to play, and all of a sudden I hear Biggie's music come on. His DJ, I think it was Enough, or I forget who was DJing. I'm like, what the fuck? And so all of a sudden he's playing, they're backstage, and then next thing you know, they fucking rush the stage, they pin the security guards, they're fucking chasing Big, like it's melee, and it's just mayhem in the whole spot. Finally, when everything fucking calms down, I finally get backstage, and I just see P and Hav in the back standing with their knives.
So that's nothing to be said. So you are the biggest cat in the group. So I've met you what 5'10", Mike?
Yeah, I'm 5'10". Yeah, so and I was like, but back then I was like 145 pounds. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was skinny as shit.
Yeah, so
like, and I was like, exactly, and I'm the biggest dude in the group.
that's
is like 4'10".
Yeah.
He's like 5'4".
Yep. I always felt this way that P should have been mentioned in the same breath as Nas. Think about the age P was when Infamous came out. And in the subject matter,
19, but my mind is old.
Exactly. So the subject matter, what he was saying, and if you can't make the parallels to what the magnus opus for Nas is, which is Illmatic, there's P should have definitely been mentioned in the same breath, and even more so because of how he had to go about doing it. We talked about, Nas kind of had that whole thing busted open for him when you signed to Columbia. And this was not that. They grinded that from the bottom, the ground up. Shook Ones Part 2 is the most recognizable hip hop, like next to like Rapper's Delight. Like it's that level. Like everybody that comes on, again, thanks to M too, but that comes on, you know what it is immediately. So much so that when you hear a track that has that snare in it, that somebody sampled that snare, oh yeah, that's the Shook Ones snare. That's nothing's crazy like that. Nothing could be crazy.
And the energy of that record is like,
it's insane. Man. And then I know that the groupies, so they attracted a different type of groupie. So the groupies for Mobb Deep had to be all over the board, and it was gutter shit. So
I don't even know if we had groupies yet.
Stop it. No,
it was not, bro. You gotta remember, this is 95.
I get it. I'm telling you, listen, I used to listen when Havoc used to roll through, and this is early.
It's hard to go back, but if you went back in time, man, you'd see it was grimy, bro. It wasn't it was grimy back then. So we didn't have it wasn't like no groupies. Even before real shiny suits and all that shit.
Y'all know it takes a special track to do this. I'm Mama P's and Q's, dripping sauce. It's just the fluid, it's the chef. I'm here to remind y'all I'm sick with it. My name is stuff that's hot, it's ubiquitous. Meaning it's one and the same, simple and plain. I'm all about my paper, the bacon, cheddar, and pain. I got these lanes running for the border. The talented Mr. Porter, keep it flowing like it's water. But here we go, there we go, creeping to a low speed. Is it him and his friend sitting in the nosebleeds? Play it cool, he ain't special just cause he's on TV. Everybody's hands up, acting like they know we.
Welcome to another episode of the Taste Music Kid Food Podcast Show. I am your host, Ed Porter. This is the home for all things food, music and culture and how they all connect. Today, my guest today is one of those guys that's the Swiss Army knife of the culture. This cat has the things he's seen, the things he's done, the things that he's currently doing, and the manner in which he goes about that is obviously awe-inspiring and all about community. And so I'm going to attempt to give this man his flowers with this intro right here. So here we go. In a realm where flavors elevate, music resonates, and the plant heals, today's guest moves like a conductor of culture. From managing hip-hop royalty in the 90s to hosting cannabis-infused supper clubs that feel more like sacred gatherings, he's turned lifestyle into legacy as the visionary behind Chef for Hire, co-founder of Fly Private Social, and the host of the Soul-Bearing Mask Off podcast. He doesn't just build brands, he builds bridges. Rolling up truth, taste, and tradition, he's shifting narratives and feeding communities one elevated experience at a time. Let's light it up for a true architect of the culture, my brother, Hawaii Mike.
Hey, what's good? Thank you
Yes,
for that
sir.
introduction.
Absolutely. So, like I tell everybody that's on the pod is that I selfishly cherry pick everybody that comes on this joint. So I have ultimate reverence for anybody that I interview, and we go back anyway. So, you're my guy. So,
For sure.
this was, something that had to be done. And let's just jump right in, man. So the things you've done, the things you've seen, the things that you currently do, and the spaces that you move in are like you live like 4 different lifetimes. I don't even know if you sat down and really think about it. Yeah. You ever seen that? What's that? Quantum Leap when dude be like, like that's you, bro. Like you.
I mean, I tell people I feel like I live 5 lifetimes, but I still feel like a kid at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I always tell people, like when they ask me what I do, I'm like, I'm the executive intern.
That's dope. That's dope. That's a bomb t-shirt.
Like, yeah, well, because like I'm always learning. Like if I get to a point where I feel like, I feel like I get stagnated if I think I learned everything already.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And every business I'm in, it starts from the ground floor, and I'm like, all right, how do I do this? And so it's figuring it out. So again, if I stop learning, that's my last breath. That's the last lesson I learned.
Yeah. You gotta subscribe to being a forever student, and no matter what field you're in, specifically if you're gonna bounce through a couple different things. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your journey through, the managing and then getting into the food, and then how, bringing cannabis into the fold, and you just basically just bringing people into to the lifestyle on a different level. So let's talk about how, the inception of all of that.
So let me take it all the way back to the beginning. I'll just say kind of like through life, my 3 pillars have been cannabis, because like my mom smoked with me in the womb. When I was a kid, my dad was, told me to smoke in the house. I got in trouble for smoking outside of the house. Food was an interesting thing for me because I was raised vegan, and like very strict vegan. Like, my mom is like still sprouting vegetables and things of that nature. And when I was 9, I was living in Hawaii, and I felt left out. So I was like, I want to eat chicken or something. Like, and so my dad sent me a recipe. They weren't together. My dad sent me a recipe, and that's when I first started cooking. And then fast forward, I moved in with him. My first job became prep cook. Was a prep cook at a restaurant in San Francisco. And then, like, I don't know, community with me, I think, has been something for me because I'm multi-ethnic. Like I have so many different, my grandfather's from Palestine, my father's from the Philippines, my mother's from Brazil. So it's kind of all over. So community became like, this thing for me. And so I was selling weed as a kid, taking weed from my dad and sneaking into a music convention called The Gavin back in like 90, 91. And then by 92, people were like, yo, you got to hustle. What are you doing? Do you know where you're at? Like, if you come to New York, we'll get you an internship. And so that was like February 92. I moved to New York June 92 and got an internship at this record label called PWL America. And Diamond D, I got hired at Diamond D's Best Kept Secret video shoot. So I got to go to that shoot and then met like the principals at the label, and they, you know, got me the internship. And ironically, my brother, I just got to shout out my brother out who just passed away last year, Scoop.
Yep.
So Scoop was the intern at PWL when he got his job at Tommy Boy. That opened up my opportunity.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? So like I gotta always shout him out for that. You know, not that he did it on purpose, but it was just timing. And you know, I obviously knew him until he passed away last year. And so, you know, cannabis is what really got me into the music industry. And so I've always been known for that. And I hopped around, did a few things in the industry. I worked at that label as a national director of radio promotion. So I worked, you know, Diamond D, Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs, my brother Scientific, who passed away. And then after that, when I lost my job, I ended up becoming Mobb Deep's road manager during the Infamous album. Mm-hmm. So that just celebrated this 30th anniversary.
30 years, bro. 30
which
years.
Is wild. It's to think it's been 30 years. Like when you say 5 lifetimes, bro, that's 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And you know, blessings on blessings, and with all the gratitude, like, you know, people still think I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's, and that's why it's really like, I really don't believe in time the way they present it to us.
Right.
You know, like, you know, I don't believe in age. That's more of a mindset to me than anything. Because I see a lot of people that are very vibrant and healthy and active in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And then I see other people that are lethargic and depressed and totally gone in their 50s.
Facts.
You know?
Yeah.
Facts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all of these things are this kind of mindset to me. But to get back, after I road managed Mobb Deep during the Infamous album, I went to the Source magazine as the marketing manager, the mobile marketing manager. So we had these big vans, used to go all over the country, do these tours and, you know, create block parties and stuff like that. So I managed that with my man Oos, and then later became the lifestyle editor at the Source. So I did like flavors of the month. I did basically all of the products you would see in the magazine that weren't on models. Like the fashion director did all of that. I did everything else that was product oriented. So if you saw like an artist or a basketball player in their cars or their motorcycles, like I did all of those things as well. So ended up creating my own magazine, LTD, and then started the agency with some friends where we did a bunch of websites. We also created Inked magazine, the tattoo magazine. So I'm the founding editor-in-chief of Inked magazine as well. And then got into management. Nigel Sylvester, the BMX athlete.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody's heard of him at this point. First BMX athlete on Jordan brand, Mercedes, like all kinds of crazy stuff now. So DJ Clark Kent,
yep.
Still on CNLV, producers, Jonathan Mannion, the photographer. And all the while I'm selling trees, you know? And again, everybody knows me for it. And so, you know, you talked about the supper clubs, 2012 or so, when legalization in Colorado and Washington happened, everybody started looking at me like, how you getting into the industry? I know you're going to be in the industry. I know. And again, I've kind of been one of those people that just kind of goes with the flow of life, and happened to meet a chef from Seattle that was doing it. And we started a company. It didn't work out. And then I just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And self-taught, you know, in the kitchen. You know, once we started the actual supper club, Dinner is Dope, we did it from August 2015 until March, I think 16th was the last one, 2020, that we did in a row. But I've done hundreds of them since, you know, and all together. So it's just kind of become, you know, my alchemy.
Yep, for sure.
Like, that's the long short story.
Yeah. No, that's dope. So, and what's crazy is that, so we could have very well ran into each other back in the Infamous days, because I was running wild then. You know, I was a youngster. And matter of fact, I think Hav used to mess with a chick in Co-op City, which is right. And I've seen him in the Honda smash through there. You know, this is way early, though. This is way early. This is
so real talk, I might have co-signed for that car.
That's great. So
So so the
The
wild
hatchback.
thing is, I don't know how I co-signed for somebody that age.
Uh-huh.
I had no credit. I have anything. But P, God bless the dead, um, had decided to abandon his whip and left it on the side of like the LIE or the Southern State or some shit like that with the plates and everything on it
Oh, in your name. Yeah.
in our name.
Oh, yeah.
So there
Okay.
was a
Yeah.
bench warrant out for both of us.
Wow.
And I had no clue.
Yeah.
Ended up getting pulled over at LaGuardia. We were sending some stuff down to How Can I Be Down. I ended up getting pulled because I went into the inner lane
Yeah,
in
like you ain't
LaGuardia, and
you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. And I went, and so I got pulled over. They ran me, and they ended up locking me up at the
Oh, you was at
airport.
the airport jail. Yeah, that
Yeah, man. And I just remember the dude in there knew I worked at the source and started asking me about Chino and all this other stuff and saying he knew him and
Yeah.
started talking about graffiti. And then they started doing all these pranks over the loudspeaker. It was a real weird experience, man. But yeah.
that's crazy.
That was probably a car I co-signed for.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've on many occasions he was messing with this chick in Co-op City. So yeah, we could have came and then so right before you started the dinner series, that's when we actually met through P.
Mm.
And so yeah, because you was sourcing.
Nah, it might have been after that. I'm pretty sure it's after.
It was pre 2015. Yeah, because I was still in the Bay. I left the Bay in 2015. So we
oh shit.
Yeah, bro. So this was like 2012, 2013. And the reason why I know that is because we had just finished with the Willie Mae Skybox Lounge and I had time and me and P was hanging tough. So that's when that all happened. So yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
Okay.
All right, so right about now, we like to play a little game called This or That. So I'm gonna give you some items. It's very simple. You choose one or the other. Very straightforward.
Okay.
Cool? All right.
Oh, Air Max 95 for sure.
Can I ask the question? Yes. Go ahead. Tell me the story.
Oh, that was like, you didn't ask the question? I thought you were just...
I'm going to say it. I mean, not everybody knows. Not everybody knows that that's the Air Max 95. I mean, they should, and they definitely should know the Sheltos. But, okay. Air Max 95s.
I've never worn a pair of Sheltos for like a whole day.
Oh, you know why? Because they're not comfortable.
They killed they're not comfortable. My big toe, like, I mean, it might be TMI, but I used to get ingrown toenails in my big toe. And I couldn't rock Sheltos, bro. Like, you stub your toe with Sheltos, ow.
Yeah, facts. That's why you gotta wear them a half size too big to have the room. I'm telling you, that's why Run DMC did that. They had to. Well, actually, they had to go down a size to wear no laces. Anyway, that's the okay. So MX 95s, MX 95s. All right, next
for sure.
Beef patty with cocoa bread or bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll.
Now it depends where it's from.
Your pick. Yeah, let's just say Brooklyn.
I mean, from the right spot, I'm going with a beef patty and some cocoa bread.
Facts. Especially if the cocoa bread is fresh. All right.
Oh, for sure.
All right, next. Now we're doing soundtracks, okay? Official soundtracks. Boys in the Hood official soundtrack or Above the Rim official soundtrack. All right, so if we can start naming some joints off them because they're both smashes. In my opinion, two of the best movie soundtracks to ever be created.
Man, that's a tough one, man. But I think I'm gonna have to go with Above the Rim.
Above the Rim. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any reason why?
Because I was out here at that time and I was more in the industry and everything. And it just was like, I don't know, it just felt like I was more attached to that. Even though Boys in the Hood was such a man.
That had Tony, that had just me and you on it. The Boys in the Hood had just me and you on it. But I agree with you. But Above the Rim will be for me as well. Okay. Yeah. And finally, we're gonna go with Fubu or Karl Kani.
Man, I never wore it either.
This is just about impact.
No, I know.
Me either.
I'm gonna say Carl Kanai because he opened the door.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
I think, Fubu obviously got way, bigger as an entity of the company.
Right.
But I think without Carl Kanai,
Yeah, this doesn't happen.
they may not do what they do,
Right. Right. Agreed. Okay. All right, dope. That was this or that. All right, so let's talk about you talk about your alchemy, about how
Mhm.
you decided that, okay, cool, cannabis has always been a part of the landscape, but now
Yep.
we did this, this joint venture that didn't work, that's fine. But when you decided to run with it, because just for the people that are out there that don't know, we're not just talking
Mhm.
about the Dinner is Dope series was an event that was very much the place to be for culinary as well as the experience of having that mixed with cannabis. We're not talking about
Mhm.
basic food items. We're talking about like an actual event, like very, very highbrow, above standards on everything across the board. And it wasn't run of the mill. And that's why I think, they were such an event and such a place to be, and people wanted to be in the room. And so
Yeah.
talk to me about how you went about, making sure that these events felt like you were bringing people into your world, but still giving them a dining experience that was bar none.
So I mean, I'll honestly say we grew into that. The first ones were very much like they were like tasting menus, but it was me figuring it out. Like I can't front. Like I had no real experience in cooking for people or plating or like man, I could show you some of the first photos and it'd be like, damn, that's what y'all was making. um, and I think after probably like the first 4 or 5, like they were always themed and things of that nature. But we were finding our footing, and because the main thing was like, how do we introduce the endocannabinoid system in our relationship with this plant? And it was like, well, everybody eats.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like so everybody has an endocannabinoid system, but they don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody eats. So that language of food, we can bring people together.
Right.
And once you kind of have their attention through entertainment, you can kind of educate them.
Right.
And that's what we would kind of do by talking about, how we infused it. In the beginning, I think we used to put like different strains and things of that nature. What I actually learned with that was the experience could be so much different for everybody that for me and the way I did it, at least, it was better have a singular experience.
Right.
That ended up being our goal and kind of how we did things. Then as I started to get comfortable in the kitchen and started to bring in other people to chef with us, that's when I think things started to really kind of elevate, because now I'm starting to learn real technique and understanding. Actually, real talk, I went and took some classes at ICE,
There you go.
I just to get, my culinary or even my cutting skills, my knife skills right, to understand, all the different sauces and, even like little plating things and things of that nature. Plus, just being in the kitchen and seeing all of the different tools that they have or equipment that they have and going, all right, well, how can I do this if we're doing this out the crib? So we ended up doing like 200-person catering jobs out of the crib.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? At certain points.
It's crazy.
But we were cooking for 40 people, 5-course meals and doing that all out of the crib.
Yeah.
A real 4-burner, regular oven, like, and so we would create menus that wouldn't put us in the corner and you're able to execute, but still felt high level.
Right.
And that was always the goal, man. So that's why I say it became my alchemy, because it was like, turning that brick wall into something that people were like, wow. Cause the great thing about when we was doing this, nobody else was doing it.
Yeah.
And we got to a point where we was charging $150 a head. You didn't know the location till the day of the event. You didn't know who was going to be there till you walked in the door, and you didn't know the menu until you sat at the table.
Yeah. And that's Yeah, New Yorkers love shit like that. That's really what it like because you're still in. I don't care what's going on. I'm in here and I can talk about it. You once was quoted by saying that food is the glue of communal celebration, and then cannabis is the lubrication for the engine. How did you, because you're also the music guy, so how did music play a part in that triad, of those moments being as special as they were and are?
I mean, sometimes the music was as simple as the playlist, you know what I mean, for the background, or we bring a DJ in and things of that nature. Other times we really built menus around music. Like one of my favorite menus was, I think it was September 28th or 29th. I think it's the 28th, 1998. There's like 5 albums that came out on that date.
Yeah.
The probably least known one is Foundation by Brand Nubian, their second album. It was Tribe Called Quest, The Love Movement, and then you just had Black Star, you know what I'm saying? Then you had Outkast, Aquemini, and then you had Jay-Z Volume 2. And all those albums came out on the same day.
Yep.
Yep, and we built a whole menu, you know, reflective of influences on there. Like that's where Hard Knock Rice came from.
Yep. Yeah.
Actually, that was the first time we used Hard Knock Rice.
Okay.
And, you know, used that. And, you know, I think because he said something about beef in that song. And so we made like a steak with some like rice and peas, and, you know, so it's like just, you know, taking music and the influence. But I think it's just all of these things. Like I look at hip hop as the thing that brought us all together.
Absolutely.
You know, it's so universal. It's so communal if we allow it to be, because it's all energy. And so, you know, hip hop was always a part of it, just culturally. You know, culture is just how you express yourself and what you look like and how you dress and how you talk. And for me, you know, hip hop is how we live. And I don't think anybody would be like, yeah, I don't know where this kid, you know, or what he likes to listen to. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that would ever be a question when people hear me talk or see me dress. So, you know, there's always that. And then food is part of every celebration.
Yeah.
Like every celebration, there's even the celebration of death and people passing, there's a repast, there's food.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like food is everywhere and everybody eats.
Yeah.
And so, you know, having all of these kinds of things. And then the other thing that I really learned about this, in hosting people and now having Flat Private Social, is intention. Intention really creates the containers. And it's like, once your intention is really in a positive building way, like people, to me, and they'll probably feel it as negative as well, but for me, people really feel that. And that's what I think draws people in and makes people comfortable. And it's like, I still got people that talk to me about those dinners or randomly send me a picture because, you know, it came up in their, you know, their photo album as a memory, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just wild to think of like how many people we cooked for and how many different dinners. And, you know, till this day, even at the restaurant, my favorite compliment is, yo, I never eat this, but every time you make it, I'll eat.
Right. Yeah, there's no better.
They're usually talking about.
There's no better.
Yeah, they're usually talking about something like Brussels sprouts, or they're talking about, you know what I'm saying, like, or a salad or a soup,
right? Or,
you know, because it's like, you know, you get a good steak, as long as you don't overcook it, you're not really gonna mess that up,
right? Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but to get some people to eat out of their comfort zone is a whole different thing. Tell me about your experiences with, and I know that hip hop plays a major role into just who you are and how you are, but how you basically seamlessly just, you know, everything you do, and that's why it's a lifestyle, it's a culture, and you just touched on that too. But speak to that because of the pillars of hip hop and community and what that means and why it's just a natural progression of what it is that you're doing anyway.
Yep. I mean, like Chris said, like Harris once said, rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live. Like that's just how you live. It's culture. So for me, it's how I know everybody. You know, I know everybody literally through either hip hop, through cannabis, or through food. Like it's all some type of connection through those three things. I mean, I can't think of how I know people, you know, besides that, you know? And so for me, it's also like, I don't know if you've seen DJ Rob Swift's book. He wrote a book with this other dude. I forget the guy, Russell. I forget his last name, but they wrote a book called The City of Hip Hop. Mm-hmm. And basically, what it's saying is like, there's nowhere else or no other time that hip hop could have started except New York. And so, you know, I think it's just that happened to be aligned with the time we're living in. And me being a part of it from such a young age and being aligned with its kind of like, you know, is growth, its arch into the world. And so I think we hit these certain pinnacles right around the pandemic, actually, or right, you know, even before that and after, like saying, you know, Virgil being, you know, at Louis Vuitton. Mm-hmm. Louis Vuitton is somebody who never wanted us. Ever. They need us now. You know what I'm saying? Or after the pandemic, you know, breaking in the Olympics. Like that's the, that was amazing, you know, largest sports stage, you know, and most respected and honored tradition of sports
in the world
globally.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and for something that was about gang culture, right, and peace to hit that stage, I think is incredible. And so now we're at these kind of like crossroads where it's like, all right, those things are great. Those accolades are awesome. How come we can't do this for ourselves? You know? And I think that's where this idea for me, at least, celebration comes in. We don't celebrate. Like, we don't celebrate as a culture. We destroy. We don't build, we destroy. And it's like, we're not supposed to be here. If they were writing it, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
We're here because of that authenticity, because of that natural power of energy, right? That frequency that everybody, for some reason, is attracted to and aligns with. And not everybody, a lot of people, because this is a global phenomenon.
For sure.
Right? If you're in modern society anywhere in this globe, you know rap songs, you know rappers, period.
Yeah, period.
You go to anywhere where they play music or there's a jukebox or there's something, trust me, there's somebody rapping in there.
That's facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you go to one of our spots, you're not going to find a country music record. Right? Like, we've permeated every facet of popular culture globally. And so now what do we do with that? Like, and that's been my thing, is like, how do we talk to people through this lens of hip hop to say we can all be together? Because if we all closed our eyes and went to a party, right? We all got this invite to a party, but we all went there blindfolded. And the party was like, oh, it's hip hop. You get to go see Kendrick Lamar and you get to shake his hands. You get to go see Grandmaster Flash DJ and you get to go see Rock McDaniels doing a video set. You would see people from every ethnicity, every walk of life, everything you could think of wanting to be in there. And if you revealed that afterwards, you'd be like, oh, shit, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we have to start celebrating, accepting. The problem is our eyes lie to us. Our eyes will carry prejudice.
Right.
It's not our hearts.
Yeah.
It's not our souls. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that we create through our eyes, and our eyes lie to us. And if we allow our hearts to be the things that connect us to those frequencies and those vibrations, right? That's when I think we start to connect. And that's how kind of Fly Private Social was born.
That's right. That's a good segue, because I was about to touch on that. Let's talk to me about, you know, and you're sitting in it. Talk to me about Fly Private Social, what it is, the meaning. You talked about the meaning behind it right now without even talking about it.
Yeah.
But let's paint a picture for somebody who hasn't been and want to be, and what it actually is, because a lot of people have they feel like it's a club, and that they, you know, it needs membership, and which is it's an exclusive thing. But I want you to hear from you exactly what is Fly Private Social, what's going on there. Let's talk about the things that you got going.
Well, honestly, I mean, that is the goal, is to create social clubs or different iterations of gathering spaces that reflect our culture, our lifestyle, and our experiences. So I just don't think we have this ours, right? And so Fly Private Social is a celebration of unity through food. We use the lens of hip hop as which to share and as a culture. And we just communicate unity, because unity at the end of the day is our capital. So when you see us write the word community, it's lowercase COMM with a capital UNITY. And again, intentions and, words and verbalizing and visualizing things to manifest, these things to actually come to life and people to be able to engage with them. It's how do we create something organically, but with the intention of being able to build together, like to create these safe spaces for us to truly come together in collaboration. So actually during the pandemic is how I really came up with the whole community thing was, there's nobody has immunity to COVID, right? And that word immunity is IMM unity,
Yep.
right? So I was like, oh wow, this is something that kind of connects us all. And so I looked up how many words have the word unity in it, and I looked at it as an opportunity. There's 13 of them, so I looked at it as an opportunity to communicate unity.
Right.
And so using those three words of immunity, opportunity, and community, really just kind of like starting to flesh out and get this idea into a space of like, yeah, we need these, especially after COVID, right? We need safe spaces. We need third spaces in general that aren't our home and our workplace. We need spaces for us to be able to gather where we feel safe to be around, the people that are there and with us. And I started looking at like, all right, cool. There's Soho House. That's probably the most popular iteration of a social club that we know. And if you look at them, I was actually collaborating with them for like 4 or 5 years. I got membership with them, I think around 2017, 18 to do dinners with them. So I was already being put in a position to learn, you know what I'm saying? And to be able to see from the inside perspective, the operations and how these things kind of work, unbeknownst to me even having this idea later, right? And so for everybody listening from me, that's what helps me is those kinds of things is what helps me. Even when I'm in a space is like, I want to have social clubs built in every city that hip hop went. Like, how am I doing that?
Right.
But for some reason, that's what the universe keeps putting in front of me. And so just trust your path, trust like that you're never not where you're supposed to be. And whatever's in front of you, as ludicrous as it may sound, if it makes you feel good, you get excited about that shit, try it. And that's really, how I'm here.
Yeah.
So it's, we're in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, and using this first location as kind of like the proof of concept, and again, like I said, I started looking at Soho House, who look at their programming. 50, 60, 70% of their programming is really geared to us or from our culture. I mean, DJ Premier was just spinning at Dumbo House.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, who brought that? There wasn't anybody on their staff that brought that in. That was one of the cool members, you know what I'm saying? Or something like that.
Right.
And then I started looking at, well, what are the other things and organizations that bring people together, that create these long-lasting or lifelong relationships or educational or just whatever it may be. And you looked at fraternal organizations, right? People join fraternities, and now you have a global network of people you could tap into that come from a place of education. And then I looked at Masonic lodges, right? And, that's steel sharpens steel, that's building together. And that's kind of like, the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that was so deeply ingrained in the beginnings of hip hop culture. And the fraternities to me were kind of like the unity, peace, and love, the more familial side. And so now it's in hip hop, we sample. So how do we sample those three organizations and kind of come up with something new? And again, that's how Flat Property Social was born.
That's dope. And then also, you got the food side. And so let's talk about Chef for Hire, because these two things all commune in that building.
Well, it's both food.
That's right.
It's
No,
both food.
but they one pushes the other, and the other one is still highlighted no matter where it's at. And so,
well, that's why I say food is my alchemy, right? Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, the food is up here, right, and then the food kind of like communicates the how we connect with people, and that's why I say it's really my alchemy, because it's like I had no intent. I never cooked on the line until I had my own line,
and that's okay. That's okay. But I tell you what, Chef for Hire, as far as a brand in New York City, is you did your thing, and it still are. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how that all came about, and how that plays a role into what you're doing as a respected name in the industry. That's the other thing too. So you also are, you know, you was at the when all this stuff started to hit, you was already there doing it anyway. And so your
Yep.
name is synonymous with all of it. So that's why everybody was looking to you like, I know you're doing this because, you know, you have to be. You're like, you gotta be. You're the guy. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me about that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, again, like Chef for Hire, the evolution after we was doing the supper clubs was to get into the legal market.
Right.
And being from Cali, I really wanted to launch it in California, but Prop 64 is just not really the move. And so I decided to plant a flag in New York. And if the 22 immutable laws of marketing say, if you can't be first, create your own category, like create your own lane. And so we weren't going to be the first cannabis brand, right? But we can be the first culinary brand in cannabis. And so we came up using extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, honey, and ghee, clarified butter in our kitchen. In our those are like the main fats we would use in the Dinner is Dope series. And so those just became our actual products we came to market with. And so we launched, I think we've been in the market now 2 years. But really officially since like, I think it's like a year and a half, maybe, you know, a little under that. And, you know, you can find us in about 140 dispensaries right now. And, you know, about to put out a couple of new things and reworking formulations on the gummies. And I'm actually about to start a podcast with Chef for Hire, you know, to kind of like, the main goal with the podcast is to get people to understand that your relationship with this plant is your relationship. How I feel when I smoke something the same as you smoke, the same exact time in the same exact place, I'm going to feel different than you feel. And I just want people to have an experience of going in and approaching their relationship in that way so they can find out what's best for them. Not listen to all the marketing, not listen to all of the effect-based stuff, not listen, just, do this for yourself and see how it works best for you. And I think, you know, once we have that, we'll have a much more educated consumer. Because right now it's scary in the New York dispensaries to me.
Absolutely. And you touched on something too. You also have the Mask Off podcast, you know, in which it's not a typical podcast. You know, it's raw, it's introspective, and often uncomfortable in the best way. And and I say that because there's a growth that happens on camera during this podcast. And so this is the third year you've done it. So
third season I've done it. So I started it.
Third season.
Yeah. I started it a while ago. And I started originally in 2018. I think 2018, 2019 was when we recorded it. And the idea back then was that as men, especially coming out of hip hop, we were kind of like very standoffish when it comes to mental health. We're very like prideful. We're not trying to hear anything about therapy or even talk about these things with our friend. And I kind of went through a little bit of a bout of depression, but nobody ever thought that about me, right? And so I decided that we need to have these conversations. Because I also look at like rappers, a lot of the songs, like we're more vulnerable than a lot of genres of music when we're in that booth. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But when we're not in that booth, we're not really opening up. And so I wanted to find a way for us as men to be able to speak to one another and have these conversations. Because one, we get to learn about the other person. We get to practice active listening, which is a huge skill that I'm still practicing and working on. It just helps with our community and our people so much because most people, they just need to be heard. That's all it is. It's really nothing more than that. Most problems and issues that people have before they get into a really bad place or sans any serious mental issues and things of that nature, right? If we could be heard, have these conversations and have somebody listen to us and have somebody relate to us. Like it could be somebody you've known forever. You guys never have these conversations. So I wanted a way to create a safe space for people to be able to like be okay having these conversations because I learned that vulnerability is a superpower.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
Like that's because vulnerability is authenticity. Authenticity is your heart space. That's love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you can lead from that space of love, like, it changes how you receive all of these other external energies that we go through in life. And I also learned that a lot of people can't even be told I love you. You know, they can't
You
even
can't receive it.
process.
Yeah, they can't receive it. Yeah. It's hard to receive
They
love.
can't receive that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And I also don't want people to be discouraged by that, because you shouldn't tell somebody you love them for their response.
Right.
You should tell somebody you love them because you fucking love them.
Yeah.
Like, and you want to say that. And it's therapeutic for you to say that as well.
Yeah.
And then the last part, so that's my side of it. And then the other side of it is, you know, the people that I'm interviewing are, a lot of them have names. They've been out, you know, we might know them from social media, but we know them at a certain level.
Right.
So one, it's great for the listener to be able to hear their story and hear some of the things that they've went through. Because again, you know, we see success and we think it's just successful. Every day is successful.
Right.
Every day is great. What do you mean? I got money. I got this. I got that. You have everything. You're here. You're there. Why would you ever be mad? I wouldn't be mad if I was in that position.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you don't know that person's story, how they got there, all the things they had to go through. So that's for the listener. And then for the person that I'm speaking to, my guest, they get to reflect on their lives.
Right.
And, you know, that's something that type of contemplation, that kind of introspection isn't something that we do naturally.
Right. Right.
When we do it, though, it is therapeutic. It feels great. It is, you know, gratifying. It's so many different things. It's healing. And so, again, like, I think, you know, for me, I try to do things that are mutually beneficial to all of those involved.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think with Mask Off, it's yeah, man, we can really have these conversations, because as much as, you know, I'm not telling anybody not to go to therapy, but there's a lot of therapy that can be had amongst friends,
Right.
you know, amongst coworkers, amongst, you know, because the more we do that, the more we start to understand how much we're alike.
Right.
Like, we're 99.9% alike.
Yeah. 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 It's
That 0.1%
can make a world of
changes
difference.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if we can agree and see ourselves in one another through that 99%, we can learn how to acknowledge and celebrate that 0.1% that makes us different.
Right. That's a beautiful thing. I always say that even the biggest bigot on the planet, the most racist person ever, there's 2 times of the day where they're not thinking about segregation or separation. And that's usually when it comes to what they ingest and what they eat and what they're listening to. And I really believe in that, the fact that and this is why I always tell people, first off, hip hop is the most diverse genre of music that will ever be. There's nothing even close. It shares DNA and inspiration from every other genre of music. You can't say that about any other genre. The other thing is that there's as a true fan of hip hop, you have a reverence for the art, and therefore you have a reverence for the people. If the bigot had a reverence for the people that made that food, you can't, biases can't exist in that world. It just can't, not to the level that they are. And so really when you sit down and you have these conversations and you give the pink elephant a name in the room, and you're safe with being able to express those deepest corners of your soul, that's a liberating thing for yourself, one, but two, you make some people listening like, yo, I'm not crazy. I'm not the alien here. I feel that way too. And so that level of growth, man, is a crazily beautiful thing, specifically among men, because as little boys, we're taught to not cry, to bottle that up, to be tough, everything about pushing your feelings down to the point to where, you're just numb. And then that's not a real place. It's not an emotional, it's not a human thing to do to anybody. So yeah, I commend you on that. So talk to me about where people could find the podcast, because I think that is a huge thing for people to check it out. So talk to me about it.
So So the audio can be found pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. So if you want to go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, it's distributed everywhere. The video, I think, should be on Spotify, but it's on YouTube for sure. So if you just look up at Mask Off Mask Off with Hawaii Mike, you can find it there on YouTube. The videos are up now, and we're be releasing like every 2 weeks. So I want to try to build the audience and then just have time to let each episode kind of breathe instead of that weekly where it's like,
Yep.
Like we're not there yet. We got to build that audience up and really get that out there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
I do want to say this season, I will have my first female guest. So we broadened it out and brought a female in. And I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. So that having that estrogen in the room should balance some things out. That's going to be a good one to see. Any hints?
I mean, she's a bit of a tomboy, so she's always around the guys, but it's still, she's somebody a lot of people know.
Okay.
So it'll be good. And I'm still working on a couple other guests that are pretty interesting, but we got I think we got a nice, variety. We got DJs and obviously Torres and MC. We got other personalities, and we got some good folks.
It's dope. Okay. All right. So right about now, let's play a little game. It's the lightning round. Before I let you go, we're going to go through again some rapid fire questions. You spit out the first thing that comes to mind. No pressure whatsoever. All right?
None taken.
All right, cool. So, favorite munchie after a long day?
Favorite munchie after a long day? Probably ice cream still, man.
Still, yeah. I have that. I got that residual Ben and Jerry's 20 pounds.
I've cut it all out, though, I will say. Like doing 75 hard, like all last year. Like, I ate some carrot cake yesterday, but usually, like, when I would smoke, I would go ham afterwards. And I found that it's all a program.
Yeah. So because
the majority of things that we do with cannabis are a program.
Yeah.
We've programmed our minds to believe it, and it's become something that's called the meaning response. It's basically like we're placeboing ourselves because everybody else says it too. So munchies?
Yeah, it's not a thing.
No.
It's so
mental.
because of you, I did 75 hard. Only reason I had to start over because I got sick and I couldn't do the workouts. I missed a workout. So, and I love the approach of, you're not cheating nobody but yourself. You gonna lie to yourself, bro? You gonna lie to yourself? I'm like, that to me
you
was
can't
the
look
most
in the mirror.
Exactly. That right there is the most powerful part of it all. And and it is about your belief system. And if you can conquer that little voice inside, if you can do that, you can do anything. It's amazing. All right. Go-to song when cooking.
Go-to song when cooking. I got it made. Special ed.
I got him. Yeah, that's a dope one. It's a dope one. Okay. Most underrated herb or spice. I got a feeling what you're gonna say, but go ahead and do it.
Most underrated herb or spice for cooking cannabis.
Yeah, by far. And so most people don't understand and think about it. It is an herb. It's a literal herb. And if you think about it,
it's an herb. It's an herb. It flowers.
Yep.
Like it's a plant.
Yep.
Like and so again, back to the other podcast thing is we need to educate people on that.
Absolutely.
On all of these things.
Yeah.
Right? People still think indica and sativa. I'm like, no, those are botanical terms.
Yeah.
They got nothing to do with effect.
Absolutely.
But we're so caught up in that. So it's like, even herbs or spices, like how do you differentiate?
Yep. Absolutely. Dream dinner guest, living or dead?
Bob Marley.
That would be dope. Yeah, that'd be dope.
I mean, I could probably talk to that dude and just chill and smoke and philosophize. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Because I look at him as somebody that, like, he's hip hop before we had hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
As far as like, and I think how I look at it, he was just always trying to bring people together through music.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? And lifestyle and cannabis and you know what I'm saying?
The only above.
Like,
yeah. That's you, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd love to have a conversation with him and just be like, it's interesting, man. I mean, you know, they always say being an entrepreneur is one of the most loneliest things you can do.
Right.
I think also, you know, not necessarily being a martyr, I wouldn't call him that, but that where you just believe, and that's just the way you, no matter what anybody, anything, society, family, whatever says, nah, that's what I believe.
Dope.
And that's how I'm gonna do it.
Dope. Okay. One word to describe your culinary philosophy.
Sampling. You know, I look at, you know, how we first started to learn, we foraged.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we traversed the globe and just touched, tasted, saw what worked, what did it, and then just put it together. And, you know, like they say, nothing's new under the sun, right? Everything's already been done. And so it's just kind of like, how can we sample, you know, different things and kind of, you know, EQ them and mix them and match them and, you know, come up with something new. Because the beauty about like cooking versus baking, as long as it tastes good.
Yeah, you got freedom.
Ain't no wrong way to do it.
Yeah, cooking.
Baking, nah, you got to do it like this.
Cooking is. I always tell people.
Like,
I tell people that cooking is jazz and baking is polka because it has to be. It's the same exact. You haven't heard a different polka song. It's the same. It's the same 2/4. You know?
I mean, it could still be an orchestra, like
True.
a symphony.
True. Yeah.
Right.
But
you can still take them through
the heart and
all
soul
of
is
those
still
different
there.
things.
Yeah.
But yo, you gotta hit those solos.
Yeah.
You the whole section has to be together.
Yeah.
It's all got to be within those bars and measured and on time.
Yeah.
Like,
we got to start again.
You know,
Yeah.
Like you can cook something with food, break it, and bring it back together.
Or that broken thing is now a new thing. Now it's it's a happy accident. Like that's a fact.
Like in baking, that can happen every so often. I remember I was making a cake one time, and man, Andre Harrell, rest in peace, and a bunch of other people was at this dinner, and the whole cake just fell. Like the whole middle just collapsed.
Which means it was moist, though. Which means it was moist, though. Which means it was moist. So if it collapsed, it means it didn't have the structure, which means it was probably real moist, which plays.
Yep. Right. So it became like a deconstructed cake.
Absolutely. Break it up, bro. Hey, so look, on Pressure Cooker, it's my guy, Brian, bro. He, like, I told him he should have ran with this, and he still should. So on the show, he had the dessert in our competition, and he made panna cotta, and it broke.
Yep.
It broke. But the judger who was judging the food, that was her favorite thing. She said the flavors were amazing. I said, dude, if you don't open a broken panna cotta store immediately, just the problem is to break it on purpose is a whole nother thing. Like
it's a whole nother. Now you have to know how.
Yeah, you got to figure out.
It.
Yep, figure out the science.
To be able to. Now you got to replicate it. If you're putting that on the menu, you got to replicate it.
Yeah.
I was just doing a private dinner as dope in another state.
Right.
So for us, it didn't matter as much. But to be able to replicate that over and over, that's
exactly. That's where the magic's at. Yeah, bro, man, listen, it's been amazing talking to you, sharing your stories, all that you do, everything that you're putting together to forge community at the heart and soul of it all, and to put hip hop again. Listen, hip hop is selling everything from batteries to baby formula, which is crazy, especially coming into a time like when I got into food, bro. As a kid from the Bronx, and I went down to Midtown Manhattan, I'm in all these fancy restaurants. I was always made to feel way too hood, and I had to tone down. Don't tell people you're from the Bronx. Like maybe say, I don't know, something else. Use another term. It was too urban. And to see where it is now, how the hip hop is the most popular substance on the planet, global. Like it's everywhere, and the fact of what was crazy to me seeing Snoop at the Olympics was crazy to me. Like it was because Snoop has always been Snoop. Like he's a known gang member, a known user of cannabis, never hit it, and yet and still he's the most recognizable face probably on the planet, and he's hip hop through and through. So
well, I'll say this: I think that. we have to be proud of the circumstances we came from because we didn't create them.
Right.
I think there's a certain shame that comes with that once you get into certain spaces. And I think we're now seeing those boundaries kind of broken, or those walls kind of, taken down. And we got to own it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's dope about Snoop is like, this is where I came from. But yeah, I can sit with Martha Stewart too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still going to be me because you guys made me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your system created this.
Yep.
I didn't ask for this.
Facts.
Yeah,
facts.
And so it's like, I think once we start owning that part, then what can they say to that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
we do sell everything. I mean, look at Ari Milburn, MSNBC. Look at
everywhere, bro.
We are the most universal global culture. Period.
Yeah, hands down.
And
now to your point, we have to own that culture. We have to be the benefactors of said culture and not out here buying a watered down version of it that they're selling. It's crazy how it came full circle. Like, look at Dapper Dan now. Dapper Dan is the darling of these major fashion houses when they was trying to shut him down. They like everything he did, they copied to this day. And it all came from him understanding what the streets wanted. And that was a very hip hop way of going about it. So, again, bro, you know how I feel about you, bro. I nothing but reverence for you. I appreciate you. I applaud you. You're that guy in a lot of ways. And so tell everybody where they can follow you and connect with you on all your endeavors and everything that's going on. I'm talking about down from the address to where you sitting at right now, because creatives are horrible self-promoters. So give them all.
All right, so I'll start with the social medias, the internet.
There you go.
My personal is at HWMK, Hawaii Mike with no vowels. Chef for Hire is just Chef for Hire, CHEFFORHIGHER, because we're going to take you higher understanding is self. And then at Fly Private Social. Chef for Hire, you find at chefforhire.com, flyprivatesocial.com. And then the address, if y'all come to New York, we're at 240 DeKalb Avenue in Fort Greene / Clinton Hill, depending who you ask, Brooklyn, a few blocks from the park. Yeah, come through, pull up on us, man, get some great food. Might have some dope DJs.
Absolutely.
Vibes,
Absolutely. Again, man, I want to thank Hawaii Mike for stopping by. Check him out. Definitely follow him on all the things. Definitely check out the Mask Off podcast. It's for real a dope listen. This has been the Taste Music Hear Food podcast show. I'm Ed Porter. Till next time, peace.
MBC. No relation to NBC.